Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon listeners. It's me Sulaiman Ben Swale coming back on Facebook Live. Today is Wednesday, Wednesday the 28th of April 2022. The time is just 1:23 past 3 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. If you bear me a minute, let me share the video and the program can start. Okay, thank you very much. As we said, today is Wednesday, and we're back to have a conversation on the circumstances surrounding the cabinet reshuffle and the alternative narrative. The alternative narrative will be explained later. But let's just concentrate on the circumstances surrounding the cabinet reshuffle. It's unprecedented. It have never happened in the history of the Gambia. It have never happened in any country. Even within civil war, when countries are in war, in wartime, leaders do able to reform their government or their reshuffle their cabinet if there is need for that to happen. It had happened in the Second World War. It happened everywhere else. But in peacetime Gambia, where we have stability relative, where we have democracy relative, and now we seems to have a problem of having a cabinet. Why is this so? But there's a lot of noise coming out, and that's where we want to go through and ask. We first ask about the delay. Why there's a delay in appointing a cabinet? What is difficult in that? It's not a coalition government or not. No, this is an NPP government. We all know all the so-called coalition members are just minor, partners in crime. But it's not that they hold any sway to anything else. Then, if even a coalition government, coalition governments have been happening all the time, and cabinet is always formed. In the most volatile areas, it's still happening. When we look at what is the norm, in most cases, what happened? The best practice, the leaders get to prepare themselves even before they declared winners. They will have in a short list. They will have an idea of the people they want to consider to go into to be in their cabinet, and when they go through the campaign trail, to helps them to gauge whether the names or the people they want to associate with are the right people for what they want to do. Then the cabinet depends on what you want to do, what your challenges are, what you want to do, where you want to take that country. This should be what is in your mind when you think of the people that you bring in it. How do you keep your progress? How do you keep the government to be functional, to be effective, and stuff like that? then in the time of even campaign period, you have an idea of what you're going to do. That's what leaders do. And the minute elections are called and you swear in, that's it. You come in. When the elections are called, it became more clear. Now you are the leader. You have to make this decision. And whatever mechanisms you have in selecting your cabinet or whatever it is, you go through them during the period of waiting for your swearing. And the minute you have sworn in as the leader, new leader, continuous leader or a new leader, that's your cabinet there. But no, it did not happen. What happened was when we went through all that, the government have to come, the president have to come to say that he's maintained the cabinet as a caretaker government. And then that's what they first say, oh, caretaker cabinet. Caretaker cabinet, what does that mean? What does caretakers do? Take care of the mess whilst, other things happen. I don't know why we need that caretaker. That was not explained why we need a caretaker cabinet. But what we knew is because of the president was overwhelmed. The fact is he was overwhelmed. You see, facts can be, get to in many ways. After deducting everything else, the president have nothing to explain. He have not advanced anything, the reason why. Now the only reason is he's overwhelmed. Why is he overwhelmed? He must have made a lot of promises. He must have made a lot of promises to a lot of people. And this is something we know as a fact. Businessmen that have a list of people they want in cabinet, people around him, so-called coalition or supporters or whatever you call them, around him, that he promised positions, one position going to many people. That is a sort of a leader we have. It's not that he's indecisive. Yes, we can say that he is indecisive, but the president is a criminal. He's reckless. He would fabricate. He doesn't care to tell a lie. If a liar who occupies a position like that, that person is a criminal. Now, that lie is cutting up to him. Now, to the extent is affecting the country. What do you think the present ministers are doing? What do you think they are doing when we have challenges? The country have challenges, the entire world have challenges. Every serious country is constituted right and looking into how to deal with these challenges. What are we doing? We are grumbling on, they don't even know, uncertainty. They can't deliver. We know that we don't have a professional, civil service, where you say that the minister might not be that important anyway. The civil service, no. We know that everything is driven down from the executive level to the civil service. This is the problem we have. Everything is dictated. Because of a lie that the president said, promising different people different things. What else is the explanation? Then that's our alternative narrative. That's the alternative narrative I'm talking about. What's the alternative narrative? Because a narrative is not coming out. Something that's meant to be done is not done. We have a right as citizens to do that. And what we find out, again, another thing happened. All these things went through, nothing happened. Now we knew, and we said that he did not want to announce a cabinet because of the promises he made. Because of then, he will have a problem in the parliamentary elections. Because of there are a lot of people hopeful. There are businessmen hopeful. These are the businessmen that help him. I'm not saying all businessmen. And women, obviously, we are just used to the word men. They are hopeful. Some cheerleaders are hopeful for their uncles, their aunties, or whoever they support. You see, this is how it is about. It's not about competency. It's not about integrity or anything else. It's all about, sharing what should make the cake, not sharing the cake. It's what should make the cake. That's what they're sharing. That's why we don't have a cake to share. That's why people are suffering. Now the delay continued. And now we assume that, okay, after parliamentary, everything will be cleared. But that's another way of checking out the events. Parliamentary did not come out the way the president wanted it. If that happens, what happens? If something you're not expecting, just drop up onto your table, what do? It takes you back. Now, the president is taken back again. Back to the drawing board. Now, what is happening here? Something he'd never bargained of. From Banjul to 𝐾𝐬 in Kenya. It's not, somebody told me this. I was talking about Banjul to Burman Bridge in Kalagi. No, they said no, it's going to Kenya. That's where it started from Kenya. One seat. Is unprecedented. What had happened in parliament is unprecedented in the Gambia. And I don't think of anywhere else an incumbent would lose a parliamentary industry. It never. The norm is that incumbent will clean, replicate, and especially if there's low voter turnout. Low voter turnout affects the opposition. And that's global. Be it developed countries, underdeveloped countries. They tell you, if people come out, that means that they are voting against. I mean, when they come out in big numbers. This kicked the president back. Again, he is not doing a cabinet, he's not preparing a cabinet to take the challenges, because the challenges are clear. He should know the Gambians, or he should have a mechanism to find out the Gambians that can take up these challenges. This is about governance. He should know that. That's his task. But that's the parliamentary came out. It wasn't what he expected. And guess what? One thing he has to do. You see, this one, he doesn't have a choice. There's a date that he has to nominate, because the parliament have to convene. And we saw what he unveiled. What did that tell you? You see, now, if you want to, again, another alternative, we can have our facts from. We know the cabinet that's going to come. If the president have presented, nominated, as Gambian expected, I mean, if I said Gambians, I mean Gambians who are not on political basis or anything. What is good for Gambia? To look at a competent team comprising the diversity we're trying to look, using the opportunity given to him to make sure he strike a balance. If you have done that, people might say, oh, it looks like cabinet is going to be something else. But the minute he presented what he presented in parliament, people are not stupid. That's what he's going to do. This is one thing he's going to do. He is just going to do what he does. Why I said what he does, after the, what do you call it? After when the 2016, after the coalition cabinet was formed, based on the coalition political parties, apart from PDIS who abstained or who refused to take seat. We know that that cabinet was formed based on the representation they have within themselves. That was what. But the minute he had to do a reshuffle or take anyone out from the members of the cabinet, what did he do? He appointed his own brother-in-law, Mbalo, and exchange for the interior minister, Maifati. Next minute, his tactical move to to have control over the cabinet. Remember, that cabinet, first cabinet was kind of a coalition. Now he have control. He pushed things around. By bringing in, who did he bring in? APRC Mamburenjai. You see, his choices we can tell. And that continued. That continued. Every appointment he does, anything he does, is not about the good of the country, but what enables, what helps him to be a Yaya Jammeh. A dictator. That's literally what he's doing. He is just wanting to become another Yaya Jammeh on us. Whether we want to accept it or not, that's the fact. That's another alternative truth that we can deprive from, because he will not come and tell us exactly what he wants or what he's doing for us. But we can tell. Then, and it's our right to find out that alternative truth and discuss that alternative truth. He continued. Now, he's got the opportunity now to say that, look, this is not a government. I can be blamed. I can blame anyone else. The first, he said, well, it's a coalition. It was a coalition government. It was a coalition government. Now he went out there, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. Now he's voted in. He have demanded. What he did first is to do something, is to bring in people. Again, we talked about who these people are, but just not to keep this program long. He brought, Fabakary Tombong. He brought, 𝐶𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝑀 what have they done in their life? We know. He knows their track record. He knows their track record. These are the same people who wanted to deny him becoming a president. Then why do you think? What rationality did he have? Apart from to see that these people have proven track record, that they will do anything for the person in power. But because he's not smart enough time, he should think that then if I'm not in favor, these people will sell me. He did not think about that part. He did not think about that part. Now what is happening, this is the state capture. Continuing, that's the APRC state capture continuing with Barrow as their president. And I am not subscribing here that these people have any interest for Yaya Jammeh or love for Yaya Jammeh. And I am not subscribing here that Yaya Jammeh is coming back and he's going to be anything in that country. That's a lie. I don't believe that. I'm not saying that who said it is a lie, but if Barrow and others tell you that's what they're doing, they are lying. They still want to dangle. They just want to use Yaya Jammeh to dangle. You know, these people understand one thing. They know how to divide us. Subtitly, they will dangle Yaya Jammeh as a bait for the resistance within Foni. Now, once they accomplish that, they know that within time, Yaya Jammeh will be needed by the international community, and that will not be a case. They will explain, look, we cannot go against the international community. I'll tell you one thing. If Yaya Jammeh steps foot in the Gambia, within 3 months is the longest, Yaya Jammeh will be picked up. Because of the pressure that's going to come onto the government, they cannot resist that pressure. Again, if Yaya Jammeh, I know, agreed, he's a coward, but he's a calculating coward. If Yaya Jammeh would ever agree to come to the Gambia, Yaya Jammeh would be assured that within weeks he will take over government. These are the two realities we have. Based on my understanding, my experience, that's what I analyze. One, he's been used as a bait, but if it happens, I'll tell you, that will be Yaya Jammeh's advantage. And Yaya Jammeh will know that within 2 weeks or 3, he will be the president. Or he will select another person to be the president, or interim, for him to come back. That's my fact. And if these people manage, for whatever reason, desperation from Jammeh or anything else, to bring Yaya Jammeh out within 3 months, Yaya Jammeh would not be normal. But they know this. They done their calculus. Let us not be distracted with Yaya Jammeh. Let us not be distracted by Yaya Jammeh. Let us be concentrating on what these people are doing. Yaya Jammeh is another story. Let him come. Then we deal with that one. This is still part of the divide and control. Now, he brought these people. Fabakary 𝐶𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 along, we could have gone and argued him. And not, why would I think these people will not do that? What would Fabakary gain under Yaya Jammeh? What would Sidin Ndiaye gain under Yaya Jammeh? Or Yaya Jammeh present in the country? No. These people now have it best. They would never. After Fabakary would not have never been a speaker under Yaya Jammeh. Sidin Ndiaye would not have been a deputy speaker under Yaya Jammeh. Sidin Ndiaye only went into cabinet because there was nobody else to take the cabinet positions. It was few days left for his life. That's how much its opportunity is. You think Sidin Ndiaye will leave his wealth and knowing that with Yaya Jammeh, who have enjoyed under Yaya Jammeh, is temporal. When he's ready, he come back to you. But they know that under Barrow, he doesn't have a teeth to bite. Because he's corrupt as them and he won't take them anywhere. And they know a lot on him and he cannot do anything for them, against them. They hold him for ransom for that matter. He has to award them. It's not about Yaya Jammeh. Now, that came out. The parliament came out. From there on, we have a leak of cabinet members. Some cabinet members. I know the leak is far, and I'll do something. I'll choose 3 people. I'll give them my list of cabinet members I think that are going to come in. Because I don't want to stop him doing anything. Let him do what he wants. I'm not going to agitate it, even that agitated maybe he stop. No. His intentions are clear. He's not going to do anything better. I would give my things and those people publish it to see if we have that right. But whatever we have right might not be the exact names. We might have the names, but if you look at the people that I would nominate, that Barrow, this is what Barrow will nominate, would be just, you look at the profiles, they will be the same profile. Then the name doesn't matter. The name does not matter. It's the profile of people that you bring in cabinet. And those profiles are 2 profiles. Former APRC, they are either former APRC or they are part of his VU. This VU means people that he sits and drink attire with, people that are linked to businessmen, Alaji Jawara, Mohammed Qsal, Mohammed Jah and others, businessmen. These are the VU. Yeah, because the VU is extended. Some of those VU do come to Ibn Bahal at State House as well. Because Jigo is part of that VU, and Jigo controls another part of selection of people. You see, they have people that's how it's going to end up. That's my list. Some of them names are already coming out. Even former cabinet members are likely to come back. I mean, his government itself. I'm not going far. His cabinet members are coming out. Maybe a former Yaya Jammeh, Attorney Justice Minister, Attorney General would be coming back as Vice President. It's possible. It's all in the frame. And I'll tell you how we know about these things. We'll get there. And the rumor came out. I did not doubt it. People doubt it. I said, no, why would I doubt it? Why you will be surprised that Barrow does something like that? You see, if someone show you who they are, accept them for who they are. Don't try to make up people from what you imagine. Barrow has shown his hands. What is Barrow not capable? If Barrow would keep Alaji Sise after everything Alaji Sise done, if Barrow would bring back Mambo Ndiaye, if Barrow would bring Sidin Ndiaye to be his personal assistant, who would not Barrow bring in? And if, in fact, you might have a new IGP. Apparently, he said this IGP is soft. He's soft. He's not doing things as he wants. You might have a new IGP. This is coming from him. And we'll give you an example of how this information will come out. How do Ben Swallow know this? I'll give an example. Now, we have, from what has happened in Parliament, we knew what he was going to do. I'll say we knew. People, I know it's not something I subscribe alone, because I talk to people who subscribe the same thing, who think the same way. This gives you an opponent to see the kind of people. You might not know the names, but the character of people that are going to go there. What does he want? This is what Barrow wants. If Barrow was doing things for the interest of Gambia, those people would not be there. But those people are there for Barrow's interest. Then, what is going to happen in cabinet would be the same thing. Not people that would be there for the interest of Gambia, but for the interest of Barrow. People that will say, yes, sir, and do anything. Probably these people that, you know, the cabinet he had constituted after this thing. I'm saying they might, I'm not saying they're not corrupt or anything. Probably they're not even facilitated as much as he wants. He wants people to come as Kazi even to do more. That's why he's going for the people that have the proven track record of doing more reckless, more incompetent. If there's something to call more incompetent. You see, speculations came out of cabinet ministers. We know there's a list from business people like Jawa and others, we know them. There's a list coming from different so-called heavyweights, or what they call themselves within the NPP, lobbying for different things. And what he tells them is, yes, I'll consider. And to the extent of telling them what position he's considering. We know, definitely, some people, especially those that left the UDP and joined him and formed the party, are insisting that they want to go to cabinet. Yes, we know that some were nominated for parliament. They said no. They want cabinet. Because they have seen the gravy train. That's where everything is. We come to that. This is that's why he's having trouble. How am I going to deal with this? That's why he did not appoint a cabinet before parliament. Now parliament come in, now it's been even worse. Now he's got this dilemma. Now the worst thing is now he just realized how vulnerable he is. Whatever they did to win, this is how vulnerable we are. My government can end any day. This is a narrow escape. Now, all these are compounding issues that are making it difficult for him to select. People to take in. Then, when we look at the speculation of cabinet, now, some people are, no, this never happened. I said, why not? Now, what happened? We had an audio from FJC. People that know my relation with FJC, she's my sister. She's my sister, and one day, I'll tell you how instrumental she is. Well, we'll come to that. Some things are best left to the right time. And people who doubted certain things, people will want to find out how we knew that what Yahya Jammeh was doing. We'll come to it. FJC, how instrumental she was in that. Now, when this happened, I had a lot of stories coming out. People telling me, oh, FJC, you see, we have to be very careful with this narrative of Senegal, blaming Senegal all the time. Oh, FJC is a friend of Macky Sall. That's a lie. That's a lie. Oh, FJC is a friend of Macky Sall. It's Macky Sall, this thing is a lie. You think, look, let's not even go there. That's a lie. If anyone make you believe that, take it off your head. That's a lie. Friend of this friend is a lie. How it came about is for them to tell us. But to try to blame Senegal for selecting FJC, that's a lie. I definitely know they are not friends. And all the those exes, the way they advance it to say that, yeah, Macky Sall was a Speaker of the House and FJC was Speaker, they were friends. The Gambia Parliament, even till now, don't have nothing to do with Senegalese Parliament, especially during Yahya Jammeh. You think anybody would be having friends with Macky Sall at the time of parliamentary Yahya Jammeh in Parliament at that level? You not picked up? That's a lie. But let's move on. What happened here is, now, we had an audio. Look, I don't think FJC will lie to the effect that she will be appointed vice president. I don't think she will go and lie that to someone, knowing that matter of days. And you see, matter of days, cabinet was meant to be announced in Friday or Sunday. Now it's postponed to the end of month. Probably I said end of month, now they'll try to bring it forward to prove Ben Suare wrong. What happened here is, what happened here is, FJC we had an audio, one-sided audio. FJC saying, because that I did not ask you to publish it. I was just telling you in a conversation. Don't bring it down, because a lot of people are calling to confirm. Confirm what? And my lawyer is even angry about it, that it should not have been published. What are they talking about? That's what the sign of conversation is. But we know that what the person have published was FJC as Vice President Lang Tombong as CDS. What I heard from other sources is Lang Tombong as defense. And when it happened, before this leak audio, understanding the way it operates, I said most probably this leak, in fact, would come from either the people contacted, or it will come out from Barrow himself. And I'll tell you why Barrow. I said either Barrow or from people contacted. And now an audio came out kind of saying that she said it to the lady. She did not say that she did not say that thing. And we know the thing they're talking about, it can only be about the appointment. There's no other thing that the lady have published about FJC. Now it's about the appointment. Now, either FJC is not telling the truth, he fabricated that he will be appointed, or FJC is right, she was going to be appointed. Now, what we have to deduct from here, the alternative to be trying to find is, why would FJC turn out to say that she will be appointed Vice President? She don't even say I'll be appointed in cabinet. Vice President in specific. Directly, Vice President. Why? Was that a Gambian? Again, you make up what you need to make up from there. But tells you again, if a government, look, Yaya Jammeh with all his faults, his appointments were like that. Bam, surprise. Bam, surprise. Names will come even where you never heard of. We heard of certain names because of Yaya Jammeh. People from different corners of the world, you bring them, bam. But the leak like this, we have never had. Speculations, this thing just tells you Barrow. And that's where I am blaming Barrow. Why the leak? Access to the president. You see, a president is not that you are not humble when you control your access. No, it's the position you are, the integrity of the position. It's not bench swearing. This is the presidency you are insulating from any problems or undermine the integrity of the position of the president, the executive position. People, you can be humble, but we know he's not been humble. But to have access to every Tom, Dick and Harry, I can tell you, you'll be surprised. The amount of people every day that go and see Barrow, sit with Barrow, one-to-one. Amount of people from every walks of life. And it's not that these people have anything critical, anything that these people could have stopped somewhere else, and someone else will deal with them. Someone else will deal with them. But why coming to Barrow? Because that's how Barrow wants it. Is that not the same thing we have in dictatorship? Everything would revolve around you. What's the point of your ministries? What's the point of the elected members of parliament? What's the point of other people that they can go to? What's the point of the councillors? That's why we have the separation of power. The executive have their level. Why can't they go to Lord there? These things? No. But for him, it's a matter of having control. That he will ultimately the person who makes and who breaks. Different kind of people go there. And all these people come out with positive. Promises, 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 promises. How much did government have to do all that? Business people, businessmen will tell you, guys, citizens that want to serve, or most cases, for other reasons. And I'll tell you, this is a fact, the access to Barrow is a problem. But again, you see, access is part of communication. You control access in order to control communication. Communication is vital, it's important. We can just have everybody going into parliament, into state house, and sitting with the president. But there's a habit here. Barrow would talk to these people, and these people would talk to other people. Now, who is leaking the information? Whether it's right or wrong, Barrow is the one not controlling. There's no control of information. And again, you have a lot of other people around Barrow, from his Atayavu and the kind of other people he kept. And I'll tell you one thing about Yahya Jammeh. Yahya Jammeh can say a lot of things in front of people, but Yahya Jammeh is very selective what he says. Things that he wants to be secret, Yahya Jammeh will never tell anybody. He knows that. But he will tell many things that he wants to go out in order for him to have control, either to have fear, put fear and to put suspicion into people. And that's what he does. But for his secrets, he knows how to control them. Until that he needs to act on them, he can act on them. That's why he always, people that not second guess him, he can easily get to them. Now, Barrow doesn't do that. He goes and gives promises, he wants to be seen nice or whatever it is, or thinking that he can manipulate people. Okay, so election be passed, so election be passed, ni election tambita, si election yauti, you know, whatever it is, in different languages, seen as the accessible president. Oh, he's humble. Hey, you can go to State House. Every time depends how you go to State House. We had even mobilizers, grassroots mobilizers, telling you that they sat with Barrow and your districts and his so-called committees. And you know, these people want to feel important. Now, if they want to feel important, they will be the president. If they leave the president's office, if they go there, they want to tell people that they have access. Yeah. Ben Suarez came to the State House. I took him there. Yeah, Ben want to bring a company here. Or Ben is trying to be the Inspector General of Police. Or Ben want to be this. You see, another way of leaking information. Because these people are not professional. They are not professional. I don't want to name names because they are the entire people are surrounding here are not professional. The civil service is not reformed. It's not what it's supposed to be. You see, this is the effect we have. Now, from there on, you have these informations coming out that way. Now, even because of the people consulted are not even professional themselves. Now, you go and tell other people that they think they are supporters. They're not doing it for anything else. These are my supporters. I have to tell them that I'm the appointed minister. They don't know the two people that you need to tell. They don't have two people they need to tell. They have a group of people they need to tell. And it goes. And if they go there, they will not only say that I'll be the vice president, I'll be vice president, this guy will be this guy will be this. Because that's what Barrow tell them. And how do I know this to be true? How do I know this to be true? I'll give an example. Of 2017, after the election, after the government was formed, coalition government was formed, a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, childhood friend of mine, said to me, apparently, Barrow knows about you. I said, what do you mean? He said his friend who follows my program, it's not a mutual friend. I've not seen the friend of a friend since 1994, 95. Since I left Gambia, I've not seen this friend. But we used to meet, occasionally, but I didn't have any personal relationship with him. He said to me, his friend, who is a very senior executive in the international community, went to see Barrow. He went to consultations with Barrow to help Barrow solve, ideas about certain things. This was the beginning. And he said that the friend said to him that they came to issue about security. And the friend, he did not tell him to appoint Ben Suarez. The friend said to him, you should listen or get someone to listen to Ben Suarez for you. The president, as a president, he should just say, oh, thank you. Okay, I heard about him. I'll check that out and finish. No. The president went further to say that, no, I know him. And someone came here. He said that someone came here. And the way he said it, he gave the kind of a description of that person. He said a retired something came here. And that person to tell me the same thing, but that person want me to appoint Ben Suarez in the Secret Service. This is what he told him. Now, You see how information leak. He's not professional. Now, because of now, that person who went to tell him, and that person too, I know because of the description, I know who the person is, but that person have not consulted me. From good faith, that person went to spoke to the president, thinking that I have a little that can help in the side of the secret service. But that person did not consult me. That person just probably think I have something and it's good for country and mentioned to the president. Now the president has ousted this guy that the guy have visited him. Ousted this guy that the guy have talked to him about this. If he have done that with him about Ben Swai, imagine the vice president position, imagine minister of defense position, imagine the minister of finance position. Just imagine those positions. What he's going to talk about. Now, because of he told this gentleman, the gentleman told my friend, and that friend told me. But the reason that gentleman told my friend is because of they are childhood friends, and he knows that this guy too is my childhood friend. Now, what about other people who just have said that other places? Now, this is how information leak. This is how Ben Sware and others get information. And I can tell you that someone is appointed before he's appointed. Because the minute the letter is, the president decide these things and give the instruction that he gives to be written as a letter is out. Now what I do is, I know that the letter, I wait till the letter is out, then I'll say it. And the president will have a choice. That person is appointed. That's why I say how Ben Swire do know these things. It's come from the president. That's information. That's how we work. How we can access information. Because of that place is just open. You can just get information like that. Everybody wants to be important. They go to their girlfriends, they go to their marabouts. These are the places you get information. And the information sips out from there. They go to their campekies, they want to so big. Their advisor to the president, or they sit with the president, they say it. You see, that's why I said this is our problem. This is the problem. That's why we cannot blame Gambians for any leak of information. But what is our expectations, and what is the president is going to do? You see, this should be about Gambian expectations. What do Gambia expect? Gambia expect the best of Gambians to occupy the positions. That's why expectation. Is the president going to do that? No, he's not. He's going to do what favored him. He thinks he favors him. What helps him to enrich himself, to be powerful, so that he can. Because the word he told someone was that the IGP is soft. The person told me actually before elections he wanted to change the IGP for someone harder because of the IGP is soft. What's soft? What does that mean as soft? You see, because of this IGP is a graduate, probably he's got a bachelor, he's a lawyer, and probably he had an alternative. But if he brings someone who only knows that after being a security chief, he can only be private security chief. Someone does have nothing to fall back on. You think this is the way Yahya Jammeh was used to do it? Then those people would do anything for him. Now probably he's going to do that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but probably it's going to happen. But this is the way he's going to bring to ministers, just as the parliament. The people he brought in parliament have nothing else to do. They have no leverage. They have no leverage. You think Barrow doesn't know that these people control is limited to what? Nothing. If Barrow was strategic, if Barrow wanted to win Fonyi, he could have won Fonyi. He had the resources to win Fonyi. He doesn't need this farmer here and others lost Fonyi. What else does he need them for? The two places they won as MPs, those is credit to the candidates. That's what I had. They are councillors, they are good candidates. Credit to them. It's not because of APRC. It's a parliamentary. But this is what he wants, and I think this is what's going to happen to the cabinet. It's not our expectations, but he's going to bring in a cabinet that deflects the parliament, parliamentary nomination. But again, we ask ourselves, we know, and I tell Gambians, oh yeah, or he's going to use the brown envelope against all the independents and even opposition parties, UDP and others. Let Barrow go and do that. You see, again, the alternative is here. What are we going to do? Barrow, what is Barrow going to do? Barrow will do. Because Barrow feels that he's not accountable. He's not been held accountable. That's why our responsibility is to hold Barrow accountable. Our responsibility is to hold Barrow accountable. He feels it's not accountable. Now, if Barrow goes out there, and Gambians are admitting this, and these are intellectual Gambians admitting this, but these intellectual Gambians are admitting that this is what Barrow is going to do, but those intellectual Gambians are not telling you what they are going to do to stop Barrow. That's where we are. That's where our problem is. It's not Barrow, it's the people who have something to do and would not do it, just to sit on the sidelines, to criticize anybody else doing any little. They want to criticize you. Oh, he doesn't speak English properly. Oh, he doesn't write properly. Oh, he doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. You can write, you can read, you can do this, you can do that. You have the independence to do it. Most of them are not residents in the Gambia, or they are international jobs or are independent jobs. Why not do something for your country? Let him go and buy every MP. That's what he will do. What are you going to do against that? You know what? That's not good for Barrow. But Barrow does not know that. He thinks that he will control. That's the reason we have democracy. It's not the best. It's not the best. But it's proven to be better than any other system we have. And the example of that is, where do people run to come from? People are not running to go to Russia. People are not running to go to China. People are not running. They are running away from those countries to come into a democratic countries, or countries that proclaim to be democratic. Even that's why I said. And the development that impacts on human life, that have a greater distance on human life, is in here. That's why we want that democracy. If Barrow wants to break that democracy, then he is the one introducing anarchy. But because there's no other system replacing that democracy there. What else? You take out the parliament and others and leave the people to hold on to what? People to go and represent themselves? Not to have a system that they choose people to represent them? Do that. Do that. Oh, I'll be disappointed. Why are you disappointed? That's what he's going to do. He's done it before. He's going to do that. He's going to buy this. He buy as much as possible. And I tell you, most people have a price. Monetary. Other people, my price is not monetary. I have a price. My passion is for Gambia. Sell me Gambia anytime. Give me Gambia anytime I'll buy. You buy me. Give me Gambia anytime you buy me. But most people have price, especially on the ground. There's a reason we did not uproot to go back to Gambia. There's a reason. I'll tell you. To be factual, that's why I respect people on the ground. To stay on the ground and do the right thing is difficult. I respect them. People who stand on principles, people who are on the ground doing the right thing, I respect them. It's not an easy task. It's easy to sit in the diaspora here to talk or to have a position on others. And I'll tell you, that does not mean too that if we had found ourselves in the Gambia, we would not have done. Because we've been there. We're not born yesterday. We've been there. Jawara government was not worse than this. Was far better than what we ever had. And we went against it. We went against Jawara government. And I tell you, it's the same thing. You don't expect a scholarship if you go against the Jawara government. They only send you to China or somewhere that you might never come back. You don't expect progress in the Jawara government if you're opposition. That's why people have to keep their party loyalties or their opposition to the government. If you are a radical, we know what comes after you. But my fact is, the fact out here is, let him go and do that. That's what he's going to do. Now, are Gambians ready and prepared for what is the alternative to deal with it? That's where we should be. But it's disgraceful when we have so-called intellectuals stand to just admit the fact that this is the guy what's going to do. And now we want to just see our differences. We have differences. But when we are cornered or have a government in the sense, we have to be very strategic. on how do we make to come together, to use what we have in commonality and to try to be the alternative, to try to get something done, to try to hold the system accountable. If not, the country will be destabilized. We have challenges. We have challenges, just as every country have, UK and every country. They are trying to deal with that challenges. And someone shared an IMF report of what is happening to the Gambia. Let me see, I've shared it with someone. Let me just read a bit of it. Who do I share this with? Yeah, breaking news, IMF. For people that did not see it, it's about breaking news. IMF International Monetary Fund has warned that the Gambia will hit hard by the world economic downturn, citing the Ukraine-Russia war as a reason for high inflation from 6.5% in December 2021 to 8.3% in February 2022, and now to 9.6% in May 2022. The IMF have approved $7 million to be injected into the Gambia economy in June 2022. I'll tell you guys, IMF, I'm not saying that we should not work with IMF, but these things are not solutions. 7 million, where's it going to go? Now, if you have a cabinet that Barrow wants, you know what that means. We'll talk about that. Now, if you have a system, the impunity, corruption, everything goes on, what's the point of injecting 7 million? And I'll tell you, the figures, these are figures given to IMF or IMF take from certain things. I'll tell you, the right figures we know. Because our family is impacted. We know the right figures, what inflation stands. We know that. We know the effect of, we know the impact. Then we should not even rely on these numbers. These are just numbers, abstracts, which doesn't mean much. It might mean not much in administration, but in the life of people, I'll tell you, these numbers, you cannot, 9 point this thing will be as small. 9 point something will be small. Tell me how many thousand Gambians, thousands of Gambians, count them in. You see, that's how you have to look at things. How many thousands of Gambians are suffering? We know the conditions of our hospitals. We have seen the Idabas Foundation that try to come and already the dialysis unit that is operating in the Gambia is facilitated by this organization. Now they wanted to even build a hospital that would be specialized in dialysis and related problems. No. This government was not interested because they don't, that's what they want to do. They want to have control. And next minute people are, yeah, diaspora, apart from remittance, what do you do? A diaspora. Because of the opportunities he have, because of things that happened to the mother, he doesn't want that to happen to others. Trying to do something about it. What does this government do? Not facilitate it. The minute she went to Senegal, they facilitate now that hospital is going to be built in Senegal. How many Gambians are suffering? How many Gambians are suffering for dialysis and others? Infant mortality. Senegal just had an outrage. Anytime we have an infant mortality, people will politicize it. They will try to bring UDP into it. UDP, Moment Gambia. This is a distraction. And I'll elaborate on that. Now, this is just to tell you, look at this. Example here. Gambia imports 31% from mainland China, 20% from Senegal, our neighbor, 15% from India, 10% from Turkey, 10% from Brazil, 15% from others. What do we export? What do we feed ourselves on? For 5 years, they cannot have a plan to feed ourselves on something or depend on something that we generate. We import everything we import. And you have those criminal business people that say that they have cement factories or flour factories. They have nothing. Did they invest in agriculture to have the wheat to this thing? You think they would have a problem by now? They have been given duty waivers just to import and package the cement or package the flour. That's what they do. That's what they do. Now, problems are there. We have seen it now, Bullfoot. Bullfoot Heights. They are taking the land among themselves. Yahya Jammeh did the same thing. The land that was taken from the people, now from the Mahoney Commission, the Lands Commission. Now, Yahya Jammeh have given some before. When Yahya Jammeh took it, he gives his cabinet before. Go and check. Go and check the sketch map. Now, Barrow is doing the same thing. And now, you have seen that list. You have seen Sheriff Tambedu in it. This is April. This is this month. Yeah, I think it's time this month. Sheriff Tambedu on it. He's not a minister. What's the criteria for people to have land? It's a kabudu. We have seen Alkali Conte. He's not a minister. We have seen Tangara's wife. She's not a minister. And why should minister be given land? That prime land. Costing millions. Now, why are the other ministers not on that list? Is there another list? And who else is on those lists? These are the things we need to ask. This is the things we need to ask. But, as you said, this is the challenges we have. But, with these global challenges and the corruption, impunity, and we expect a government that will be functional, that will be effective. The president to take this as a yardstick. This is how the challenges we have. And to bring a government that will deliver for the people. But again, the people have the alternative. Things are going to get worse. Because of he will disregard it. Because of, you know why? He knows that he can divide us. He can use UDP against us. He can use APRC against us. I hold UDP accountable in a different manner. I hold accountable APRC in a different manner, and I'll explain that. And I hold the government accountable in a different manner, and I'll explain that. But I will not be divided. I will not be part of the division, the destruction. Who have the ultimate control that I am going to hold accountable. And that's where my vested 90% would be, and half for that matter. He knows that we will be divided, to be blaming anyone else, but not the government. He knows that we'll be divided, to be blaming tribes and regions for that matter. We will blame the Banjul Mafia. We will blame the Terikafo. We still blame it, taking the same strategy from the First Republic. None of this represent any family, apart from their family. None of this represent any tribe, apart from their family. They don't represent tribe. None of this represent any region. Tell me a region in Gambia that is prosperous. If they have represented their region, tell me where all these people live. They all live to where people desire to live. They don't go back and live in their community. No. Even if they come from Bakau, they will go and live into areas they desire that we can spend millions. Then we should not be distracted. We should not be distracted. This is where it's happening. This is the challenges where it's going to come. And you know the worst is going to happen. Why the worst is going to happen? The impunity. Everybody knows that now. Anything. Let's go. Let's go on. Corruption. Let's go. How many? Not one single prosecution have ever happened. Or successful. Not one. Not one. Not one. The drug dealings, the petroleum scandal, every central bank scandal, every scandal, nothing will happen, and now that's guaranteed. And you know the new ministers coming? They'll be worse than the ministers that will be replaced. Because they are hungry. They are hungry. If there's anyone like hungry, they are hungry. And impunity, they will do. They will try to build the same houses. They will try to marry the same women, wives, or they will try to become the Yankees like others. That's what it is. It's about lifestyle. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the country. Because they're so ignorant. Yes, they might have their bachelor's, master's, doctorates, but they're still ignorant because they don't know that. They will pay for this. I'm not talking about the hereafter. I'm here, here. They will pay for this. And that country destabilized, they will suffer more. We think poor people will suffer more? No. Poor people are used to suffering now. For them that would have already got there thinking that everything is in, and they will come from their story buildings and jump, they're the one who will suffer more. When the youths are so angry to desperate and start to go, you think the youths will go to the shanty towns or the ghettos to attack their own? No, they will go to the suburbs to look for buildings, houses, properties that they can go and attack. Go and look at the examples in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, in Ivory Coast, everywhere else. What happened? Nobody went and attacked the shanty towns. They went for this thing. The shanty towns are only attacked when the control is still with the incumbent, just as in South Africa. That's why you see the South Africans attacking the foreigners. Africans, they are not going to attack because they cannot reach to the whites, they cannot reach to the Arabs, they cannot reach to the Indians, they cannot reach to the government officers on top because of their gated houses and stuff. But when everything collapses and they can reach there, they will forget about the smaller corner shops around them. They'll go for that. They will go for that. Now that's why if they were smart, they were not ignorant with their education, they will know that to control, to do good for that country, the common good would be something that should be to their interest. But because of, they know that the government can divide us according to tribe. Government can divide us according to regionalizations. The government can divide us based on our prejudices and our ignorance. What they will do is they will continue to do what they do until they got consumed by the problems they created. Now, let me just move to, I need to come out of this program soon. I have something to attend to. I could not get into deliberate anymore. I'll say this. We cannot sit there and wait for God to give us good leaders. We have to take the position of leadership. I keep on defining this leadership as, it's not the positions we are appointed, it's not the position we are elected. Yes, those are positions of leadership. But as citizens, we have a position of leadership at different levels. And that leadership is something, it's a mandate according to our constitution, but it's a natural position that we should take. That in society, people who are better off, provide a little bit of education, little bit of resources in one way or the other to take up responsibility. And that responsibility is called leadership. And the leadership, we cannot only blame the people in government appointed or elected. We have to blame, and we cannot turn around to blame the average Gambian. When we, the influencers, are the one that do, we influencers are the one that do help them to make their decisions. May we mislead them or not, we are the ones that make them to take their decisions. Then it's our responsibility to make sure we step up to that. That's why when I said the so-called intellectuals and others, that's what I mean. It's the extra that you do, not that I'm going to work and pay my tax, I'm a good citizen. What else do you do? What extra do you do? Because we must accept the responsibility and leadership for the future, and when good leaders come, we rally and support them. But the work of building a country and people continue regardless, and we know that there are more patriotic people outside of government than within it, such as yourself and others, so we get on working. I had to write this thing. But what I mean is, let me take it off. What I mean is here, I have my belief that we have more good people outside of government, as it's logical, than in government. Because we know how governments are constituted. We know how politicians go around to do things. But because of we give government all our resources, we give them a mandate to lead us. They can use the budget, and yes, we decide, approve that budget through parliament. We approve our budget through parliament. But again, you know that government have control over parliament, because our democracy is still not matured. The government have never been denied anything in parliament. That tells you that still we are not matured democracy. Then our efforts should be even more outside of parliament. Not just to rely on parliament. We should give more support to parliament. We should advocate more, put pressure more on government. because they have that. Government appoints a minister for communication, and now even the minister of communication, what it should mean, it doesn't mean that. He thinks he's a spokesperson for government. We have moved on to where now the word communication doesn't mean a spokesperson. That's the colonial period, or just after the colonial period. Now communication means how to build the infrastructure, how to move things. But still now we have a duplication. Government have a president, press office, president, spokesperson, and all this, and every ministry have a spokesperson, and every institution have a spokesperson. Now who should be the spokesperson for the people? Not parliament, because parliament, we see how they get control through political bickering and political bargaining and being bought and everything else. It's not enough. It's not a mature democracy. Then we should participate more, take leadership to do something more. Leadership is a challenge, and there's nothing like a perfect one. A good leader is the leader that is whole accountable. If you fail any leader to be held accountable, they will just lose their focus. And if we had time, we could have looked at the people that we term as good leaders, and I'll tell you how why did Kwame Nkrumah lose it? Because of the accountability mechanism that was there. He removed it. And what he did was, it was good. Africa would celebrate that, but he neglected the domestic and went to try to be the president for Africa. And what do you think Ghanaians would think? You see, because of the accountability mechanism, the democracy that would have controlled him, he took it out to be a one-party state. That's why accountability is important. And we can go on and give you examples. Even in developed countries, you see our United Kingdom. Because of our democracy is undermined. Now we have a buffoon still in place, acting like a third world country. You see, these are things that we need to take on. We need to take that responsibility. God is not going to come down and bring us the leaders. Yes, we believe in God, but look, the reason we have sins, God leaves us with our free will. That's why we have sins. We have to take the efforts. Do it. Represent. We can bring about the change, because generally Gambians are good people. What the problem we have is people that have influence, either passive, bad, and the minority good among the influencer. Very minority. And the passive, I don't term them as good, because what they do in their silence or whatever it is, they are supporting the bad. These are the three. Until we move this passive to come with the good and to go against this bad, we will start to get somewhere. And regardless of government we have to engage the government, one way or the other. And the best as we can. And to move that on. Now, the alternative. As citizens, what do we do? You see, what do we have in citizens? I said the good, the bad, and the passive. But let's think about this. We have institutions. Before coming to those institutions, but there's an institution that we just see as part of the citizens. That's the journalists. And you see the state capture, what they did is control the media. And this is not new. You see, what happens here is not new. You know, in the First Republic, all the good journalists always have a conflict with government. All good journalists have conflict with government because of how critical they are. But the bad journalists are always friends of government because they are just an extension of what they are part of the state capture. They act because of the benefits they have from that government in place. That's a fact. The Ashantics, the Dixon Police, let's go on. In the First Republic, the people that have problems. Just as when Yahya Jammeh came, the journalists had problems. They are the ones that were against this. They try to neutralize them. Now we have the same thing here. The only time we have to remember. But we have another problem, a layer. These are the wannabe elites. They want to, you know, the term elite can be seen in a negative, or elite because negative, but elite should be a progressive. A progressive should be an elite. Elite is someone who have privilege, someone who have, fortunate to be where they are. I mean, these are the elites. And when we look at it progressively, these are the people. And every society have an elite. Let us not be down with communism, socialism. They all have elites. Go to Cuba, they have elites. Go to Russia, they have elites. Russia is even not a communist country anymore. Go to China, they have elites. They have elites. There are differences of positions, hierarchy. There's nothing like an equal society. But when you find yourself, what you do is to work towards the common good. That's our mutual interest. If you think that you can, keep people, whatever, not create a social mobility. You see, you can talk about reconciliation, you can talk about, social cohesion. Without social mobility as a mechanism, that social cohesion would not happen. People have to have a share. People have to have hope. People have to find a way to progress in themselves. There should be an avenue for other people to climb up. But it's not the case in our poor countries. It's not a case in our poor countries because of the ignorance. They take everything and they control everything. And anybody want to be something, even if they're business, they have to align themselves with government to be wannabe elites. If they're students, they have to align themselves with government. If they are civil servants, they have to align with government. And all these people become a group of influencers. I call them wannabe elites. They think that's what elitism is. Because they want to see their businesses from small to medium to big, or they want to see themselves from clerical to this thing, or from middle management to upper management or something, or they want to benefit from scholarships and others. This is how the system works, the state capture works. And what do you think the rest would do? We have that. We have influencers. Now, the word influencers, we have influencers on social media and agitators. Influencers on social media and agitators, or so-called, in the Gambian term, so-called influencers, social media and agitators, because only few people on Gambian platforms realize what their potentials are as influencers, and they use it positively. In most cases, they are just agitators, or they're just participants. They just use their platforms to vent whatever. But we do have others who do use it, one way or the other, either to represent a political party interest, or to represent government interests by in the term benefiting from monetary, others to use as supporting a political party interest for their political party gains, to use this as a leverage. Those things happen. There are people that agitate. They agitate for attention. They agitate for attention. Because they don't even think through. When they post something, it's just throw it out there. Be it insult, be it to attack someone. They post. I post. Anytime I post, there's a reason I post. At times, I will even start a post, think about it, start writing it, and before I finish the post, it will completely change. Because there's something always guiding me. If I put a word, how is it going to impact? How is it going to impact? How is it going to impact? I finish it. That's my best. It doesn't mean that it's the best, but that's my best. I try to get that. But I know people that will just vent out something. They will try to do it to attack someone. They're trying to do things for attention. And what they do is, when they do that, it's just been part of the problem. They are not a solution. But they believe that they are part of the solution, or they are the brave ones. I am brave, cyber warrior. I am the brave one. I would say anything I want. I would say this. Yes, that's the level they are. Probably once they mature enough, they will get to a level that they understand why I need to put a post, why do I need to react, and how do I react. Now, there's something called an activist. I know there's so many so-called activists, or the word activist is just been vandalized, been abused. because there's a lot that people need to understand about activism. Activism is about being strategic. It's not only to vent. Strategy. You have to think of what you want out from what you do. What can you do best with the limited time you have, and to achieve the outcomes that you want. That's what an activist is. And generally, activist is an anti-establishment. Generally, activist is an anti-establishment. I mean, underline generally, should be an anti-establishment. Be it environmental, be it against anything, should be an anti-establishment. I term myself as the activist. That's why I act the way I act. And from my experience, my background, as I said, my activism started. And when people say struggle, think that struggle started with the IJMA. No. Since we were born, I believe. And from early age, I have identified that I live within the struggle and I have to take part in that struggle because of the environment I was brought in and the people that mentored me, and I've done all those crazy stuff. I've done all those wild stuff. I had prejudice. I had all those prejudice before. I'll tell you that. You'll be surprised. The amount of prejudice I had before. But with education, open mind, I have cured most of my prejudice. I'm not saying all. I have prejudice against people. I don't know. Because of the environment I was. One thing I never had prejudices about tribe. But people, about class, not understanding, I had some of those prejudices. I had prejudice against PPP. I had prejudice against PPP until I got educated about it a lot. I got better. Now, I'm a critic of the PPP. And I'm an admirer of the PPP in certain sense. And I even said they could have even done better. I know they could have done better. And I believe that PPP could have revamped and bring back. Because so far they had things better than any other party have ever done. Party in government have ever done. We had all those prejudices. I had them. But being an activist, education and everything else got me better to understand. But again, to be strategic, my background in what I do and so on make me to be very strategic what I do. What the outcome I want. And yes, my biases are there. I am with the opposition. I don't hide that. I am not subscribed to any political party, but I stand at a platform that with the opposition. And with the opposition, and the opposition can change. The only opposition I don't share a platform with is the APRC. And any party that goes with the APRC. Because what they represent. I don't take them as a political party. Let me put that clear. As I went against being an activist, I've never voted elections in the Gambia, not that I didn't even want to. Circumstances I never had chance to. Because I'll tell you one thing, and again I credit that. The political neutrality of the armed forces, when I was there, later part, it started to get muddled. And still now, it was not party politics. I was not even aware. Someone had told me, no, we did have right to vote. I didn't even know that soldiers had right to vote. Two things I would say. Probably ignorance, political ignorance, one, or because of neutrality. You can credit it either way, but it's ignorance as well. I didn't know that I thought soldiers are not supposed to be partisan. That's why I said I see it as neutrality, but again, it's an ignorant. If a citizen should be a soldier and not know that they need to vote. Again, you see, that's again what we should think of. How much education do we educate our men in uniform or women in uniform? Ignorant. The time I left the army, the last election, I was not even registered. The time I left was 92. I think we had the elections in 92. and 94 and for 95 in the country, but I vote in this country, and in this country I even vote for conservative. I am mainly mainstream level voter, and I vote for the Green. Depends on issues, on what I want to impact. The mayor elections for West Midlands, I voted for a conservative. Not only voted for him, I campaigned for a conservative because of the person as a mayor and the street somewhere, and I know personally, I know what he can do, and it's not a disappointment. The second time he came out. I voted for Green in on the council elections. I voted Lib Dem as a protest against the Iraq war. On a parliamentary elections. That's what I am an activist. I believe it is. You have to be very strategic, and the outcome that we look for. I voted for Jeremy Corbyn, or what you call him. It's not my candidate, but I had to. Now, when we come to Gambian politics, that's my position. And 2016, we have to be very careful. After 2016, I was labeled a PDOIS. Yes, by people from the UDP. I was labeled a PDOIS. For what? I am not. I've never been a party member. But because of my position then was the position that PDOIS held. And I was disappointed that PDOIS didn't even take it further. Probably I could have been a PDOIS member if they had stood up to say that now let's go against DC. But they play their politics differently. And this is my difference with PDOIS. And UDP came after me. Some people blocked me. Some people tried to win me over. People who I'm friendly with try to win me over. No, this. I said no. I am not in agreement. And you guys would regret this. I went against everything when they were in government, because they were in government. I'll come to the reason I'm getting into this. They labeled me as job seeker. Yeah, because I didn't have a job I want. I was the first one that went against Masani Kinti's appointment. Because I had my concerns. I said the security reform will not happen. It's not the candidate to be. It's not, this should not be not the right way to go about it. I criticized everything. I stood by it. In fact, I started to criticize the coalition before Barrow was sworn in. My position started to shift on holding accountability straight away. I talked about go and look at my footprint. Go and do a VC. Go and VCR, or how you call them. Go and do it. That's anything you bring in here, I defend it. I talk about commissions. My problem with commissions. I talk about reconciliations, how we should bring about reconciliation. I talk about the justice. I talk about victims. I talk about reforms, and that's what I hold on to. Those issues. I never gravitate towards any political party. And people that bother to engage me behind this thing, I'll tell you, Frank, this is a mistake. People from the UDP that would approach me, and I'll tell you, this is a mistake. You would regret this. And I won. You see, when I won in the struggle, I won against Ahmad in the struggle. And people should know the relationship I have with Ahmad, but it doesn't matter. When Anti-Fatma Tatami, my relative, was made vice president, the way and manner it was, I went against it. But when other people came from the camp of Aissatou Touré, tried to fight on it, I went against them. And others. Now, we went all through that. That is what I believe as an activist. And those issues. Later, UDP came out of government and became opposition. Now, because UDP came out of opposition, I have to move away from my position. They came and joined my position. I should be celebrated. It's a victory. Look, I am not saying, I am saying I mean people that hold my position. And yes, again, as an opposition, hold back. Now to hold the system accountable. Because what we have is, we don't have a mature democracy. We have to be careful. The incumbent have powers, the machinery of government, the resources of government, in order to entrench, and that's what I am fighting. That's what I'm fighting. And this, anything that comes onto that platform, that's my platform. If I to hold you accountable, I'll hold you accountable. But in a different way and manner. Just as during the struggle, we had a lot of issues with the opposition. People might not know, but we dealt with some of those problems behind the scenes. Some of it had to come out. We vent it out, but in a different manner. We come to that. We came up to everything become more clear. This is the opposition, that's the thing. I am an anti-establishment. I did not have an anti-establishment candidate, no. I keep on saying that the only way is to, if you want to beat an incumbent, you have to able to use the incumbency yourself in your to access it in order to win. If you can't do that, it's technically impossible. But what you can do is to become an anti-establishment to win. I gave examples. I made analysis from how it works out in Liberia, why incumbent lost in Liberia, why incumbent lost in Sierra Leone, why incumbent lost in Guinea-Bissau, why incumbent lost in Senegal, why incumbent even used even in France, how Macron became an anti-establishment. I mean, and his former establishment. I used United Kingdom, how these things, I explained it. You might understand. But no party was an anti-establishment. SFL came out, he didn't constitute himself right. He was a loner. You see, this is our problem. Because the entrench, how mainstream political parties act, we have a problem. Now we have seen the results of it. Now, I'll come and give my take on the Panderi, Toure, and UDP debacle or Ousainou Darboe. Listen. Again, the reason I am addressing this here, I did not address it on Facebook. Again, that's what I'm saying. If you are an activist, you have to understand agitation, how people agitate. You have to understand what is transparent, and you should know how to position yourself. I remember the minute, even before knowing what happened, I saw people sending texts, yeah, where are the activists? Where are the activists that attack Barrow? Why are they not attacking UDP? I just started wondering, what's happening? Straight away, I laughed. The people saying that are NPP. Now, would I be agitated by NPP for me to react? That's stupid. Even if I wanted to, I would not. Then, however I reacted would not have impacted. You see, you have to know how you impact. Would be asked, because of their agitation, I reacted. No, because they have agitation, I'm not even going to react. Because to tell them who they are. That what I do is not control. That narrative they cannot control. Because they don't come to what I agitate. Why they don't come to what I agitate? Am I agitating for the greater good? Yes, accountability, we have to understand what accountability means. And how and ways to do accountability. Agitations and accountability are, yes, agitation is part of accountability, but it's not solely agitation that is accountability. Listen to that again, let me say. It's not solely agitation that's accountability. Agitation is part of accountability. We hold accountability in different ways. You'll be surprised that I talk to government officers. You'll be surprised. I talk to senior government officers in every kind of distance. Some of them, I know they're genuinely in positions. They want to exchange ideas. They want to enlighten me onto some of the things that I talk about. We do that. That's holding accountability. They're holding me accountable by engaging me. I'm holding them accountable by engaging them. It's not only the agitations. Now, When they do that, what they're trying to do? Again, remember the state capture I'm telling you. We have a state capture going on. Now these people, what they're trying to do is to finalize their state capture. We were in a struggle. When we were in the struggle, I'll tell you this, we advocate for injustice. Whoever, even Yahya Jammeh's people, when he get onto his people, we go out there and denounce it. When he arrests anybody, we denounce it. Regardless that those people were with him. Now, if those people come out and join us in the struggle, what we do, we hold together. But does not mean, for me, I know that, does not mean that I am the same with them. I know that most people that left Yahya Jammeh to join the struggle, they left this Yahya Jammeh because of Yahya Jammeh left them. Or Yahya Jammeh make it difficult for them to live in the Gambia. Or Yahya Jammeh make it difficult for them to be in the government. They would still have been with Yahya Jammeh till today. You see, that's why there are certain people in APRC still, I respect them for what they believe. I have their disagreement with them. Let them believe that. At least they have shown who they are and what they believe. When they came to the struggle, we hold together. Because we have a common aggressor we're trying to deal with. And that person was the incumbent. But when it is, we all seen what happened. Be it the opposition, be it other individuals gravitated towards their interests. Opposition went for their interests. Individual went for their interests. But some who were genuinely trying to work for the greater good stayed with it. I'm not saying that everybody in the opposition, the opposition members were not happy what was going on because of, again, due to party loyalty, or they don't want to see us undermining their party. They were quiet or they acted another way. You see, that's why, again, I don't want to be part of a political organization now. Because I will say it. I will see it as a disruptor. Now, these people would not turn around. Now, they are regrouping. They are regrouping. You see, what Barrow is doing is bringing APRC back, but Barrow as the soul. Yahya Jammeh is not in this equation. Let nobody fool you. Yahya Jammeh is not in this equation. And these people accepted Adama Barrow because they never had problems with Yahya Jammeh. They only had problems with Yahya Jammeh because Yahya Jammeh touched them. Not even that Yahya Jammeh touched their family, because Yahya Jammeh touched every family in the Gambia. But no, immediately their interests were affected. That's why they have a problem with Yahya Jammeh. They were happy with Yahya Jammeh. Now, you think that person would tell me to agitate against an opposition member? And I agitate against an opposition member? No. I agitate when I feel like, and I'm going to do that now. Not agitate, I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm not agitating, I'm going to hold them accountable now. On my choosing, on my platform. Now they are regrouping because for Barrow, they know that they have a perfect Yahya Jammeh without Barrow going after them. What Barrow can do is just to sack them. But they will, by the time Barrow sack them, they have what they want. They can jump around this thing and they can see the misery of people. They can see the poverty in the country. They can see the problems in the public. They don't care. Let them have their lifestyle. You see, the problem in Gambia now is lifestyle. They can be seen as celebrities, they can be seen as influencers, they can be seen as bourgeois or whatever you call them. And they disregard what they... But these are the same people that would jump on to tell you they're defending their tribe, or they're fighting against tribalism, or they're defending this. When the tribalism itself is a mechanism from the establishment. That's why it affects political parties. Especially the main political party, UDP. It's a mechanism that we inherited from the colonial. Remember, we were divided province and colonials. The colonials have certain privilege to vote and other things, right to land and other things. The province didn't even have right to vote and other things. You see the divide there. And the other mechanisms even using to appoint chiefs and other things was based on tribal. And people, the indigenous. You see, that word, this is the way it went on. The First Republic came in, instead of the men that, and we came out from the First Republic through the default. A fault line happened, we came through the default. That's why you have the PPP as the People's Protectorate Party. It's not that that's who they were labeled to be. By default, they are. Then you have the UP as seen as elitists because the founding fathers were here, but does not mean that they have allies in the provinces. But look at the allies they have in the provinces. They will be seen as elites in the provinces. That was the default. Instead of we rectify that in the First Republic, it was started to be used as a mechanism that went on to the First Republic. That's how we came to have the Banjul Mafia. We have the 𝐶𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 and others. They never represented the interests of anybody apart from their families. And that divisions went on, evolved into, in fact, before it was like a Wolof and a Mandinka thing. It went on to become Mandinka against Mandinka, Sehu Sabali, Bibi Dabo. Now even the 𝐶𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 and the Banjul Mafia mix. You see that was a wake-up moment for Gambians to know that these people don't believe in anything. Some 𝐶𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 went to Sehu Sabali, and Banjul Mafia stayed where they are. Sehu Sabali was good for them. They have seen Bibi Dabo as a very rigid person, and so on, and he will be tagged as the tribal candidate, as the Mandinka candidate. Now Sehu Sabali, who's a Mandinka in everything, will be seen as a compromise, not as a non-distinct. You see, that's what they play us. I don't fall for that. I know none of them represented our interests. And Yahya Jammeh came and put it in a mechanism in everything. And even, fragmented even more into the security sector and bring in different tribes to hold on to different things. And that was his security and everything else. Still, the so-called Banjul Mafia, the so-called 𝐶𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 will still exist. They were not supporting the opposition. They went and supported Jammeh. You see, and again, I am not falling for that. I have too much political education to fall for that nonsense. If you want to be a tribalist, go and be a tribalist. But you cannot pull me in that he say. Gambians have issues to deal with. And I raise those issues. None of these people talking about tribalism come onto my platform to deal with them. The cocaine, what it's doing to the country and everything else. None of them, they have their platform, they have everything, they don't touch it. The corruption from every sector, they don't touch it. The monopoly of businesses and the scam businesses are doing the big businesses that give them contract, they don't touch it. From QCell, Official, every big business, they are not paying their right tax. They don't touch it. Because they are the one giving contracts. They are the one giving them money. They are the one patronizing them. This is what we have as a country. We should know and understand this. Then we should not fall for this pettiness. I take it as pettiness. It's dangerous though, but it's pettiness. Let me come to this. When these people agitated, I keep on wondering, what are they talking about? Next minute, obviously, it went viral. I got the forum I was in. I saw the Lawyer Dabo statement. I listened to that. But still now, I'm scratching my head. What have led to Lawyer Dabo to say this? Or to come and react to a young journalist? I still didn't have the answer. But people are making their opinion. And I asked certain people, what was his reaction? They don't know. Now, again, you are taking this and you are not even knowing what it's reacting to. But next minute, someone found it and sent it to me. And I listened to it. When I listened to what Panderi Ture have said, it's not someone I follow. I'll tell you, I hardly follow a lot of things. I follow certain things come to me because someone highlighted, oh, there's something interesting here, do this, because I'm busy doing a lot of other things. I cannot go on everything going on today. But when I don't have a Skype, but it's sorry, I don't have a Skype. I mean, further down the line, I'll program this, but right now I just have a listen. What will happen here is when I follow things most of the time that someone said this, and for Pandey Ture, whatever I had about, I've never had him do an analysis. Tell me that. Only thing is like, and someone been interviewed, something happened. Oh yeah, Pandey have interviewed that person. and I listened to that interview. That's all I heard. And yeah, he's eloquent in the way he interviewed, but I have my problem with those interviews as well. Now, when I listened to it, I said, what UDP or Dabo must have had against what I have had or what I understand. Okay, let me put this clear. When I listened to Pandey, I wonder, what did Dabo hear? I did not hear. What did Dabo understand from this? I did not understand. You see, again, when you're looking at things, look at the point of the person. Point of the person. What did the person hear? We can both listen to something, and because of probably our backgrounds or whatever it is, or affecting, I'm not hearing what you have heard, or I'm not understanding this topic the way you have. One. What I mean by this, because I've not followed Pan day to day on knowing this, but what I believe that Dabo have had was an undertone, or maybe Dabo or UDP have been following what the discourse, because as I never had an analysis Pan did. Now they might have had other things before, and this thing is just this straw that broke the camel's back for them. I'll get to my position on that. That might be the reason why they acted the way they acted. But listen to me listening to this thing, I can see a hack job. I can see a hack job. What I mean a hack job is, let me explain something about Gambian journalism and the press. And this is not new. Again, in the First Republic. I don't have time, I'll explain it to the First Republic, how the press worked in the First Republic. But we have more critical press in the First Republic than Yahya Jammeh time. Yahya Jammeh time we had them, but we know what happened to them. That's why when you look at the TLRC, you see the amount of casualty. You see, that's why I said we say Gambians are not good, Gambians are not this. It's not true. Because Gambians have been fighting all the time. We have seen what the journalists, what happened to them. You think Data Haidar could not have just, did not have the signals coming into him? You think Data did not know that Yahya Jammeh was capable of doing things, but he believes in what he was doing. You think Babukar Citizen FM, you didn't know? You think George Christensen didn't know? You think Justice Mane didn't know? Look, if I start counting, I'll be lost. You think they don't know what was going to happen to them? No, they did. But this time, we have the worst representative of journalism in the country. I'm not saying the entire fraternity, but because I don't even know what is called journalism anymore. What's their qualification? I don't know. Anybody can just open a platform and have a mic and call themselves a journalist. And this is why the Gambia Press Union should be responsible as well. And I have seen this. Even what do you call it? Cafe something. I don't listen to it anymore. It's a PR. The way the Ibrahim Silla and Ibrahim Sankari goes, cafe something. It's a PR. No critical questions are asked. In fact, it is used to deceive the people. Bro, mangi live. Suma gini na lo. Cafe morning, cafe George Gomez, I think George Gomez and that FM listen. It's a PR, coffee time. It's a PR. You see, every question, I know the gentleman is a journalist, he's experienced, but you can see the leading questions, either they arranged it before or they have an understanding, everything, and it's not questions, the follow-up is not what it's supposed to be. I know if he wants to drill in, he will drill in. Why do you think they go there every morning? You see, if a government officer just loves to go to the press, that press is not a press. It's not. It's not. It's a PR. That's why I say coffee time, Peter Gomez. I know how difficult it is to live in the Gambia. I know that. I know difficult how to function in the Gambia. It happened in the Jawara time. If you don't do with government, you don't listen. Be a business and others. And this is what is happening in the Gambia now. Credible people that will show you credibility, they are not. Hardly, you will hardly find a critical press. Yeah, there are individual journalists who are trying, or individual, what you call them? Individual reporters. Some of them, I don't even call them journalists, but that's what they call themselves. They are tried. Most of what comes out of that country is a PR. Because the most serious matters that happen. You see, again, I'll credit the gentleman, I've got forget his name, something Koli at Paradise TV. When I made the noise on the cocaine at Denton Bridge, and when I made the noise on Gum Petroleum, because I broke Gum Petroleum story, nobody touched it. But they invite me. The minute they invite me, the government reacted. That's how they can be powerful. But after that, they promised that they will be bringing me on. Not me. They could have brought up. There are many people to bring onto their platforms that are critical to the government, but they don't give them the voice. That's why we should find our own voice and have our voice. We should have a Gambian voice. The amount of corruption in that country, you don't hear it. They don't go analyzing that. They don't go putting pressure on government. They don't call out their names. You see, even I had his interview with, Talib Bensouda. His interview with Talib Bensouda was a PR job. I'm not saying that Talib paid him to do that job. That Pandey to it. I'm not saying Talib pay him, but you can tell that this thing either is an arranged questions or he was sympathetic to Talib. That was the Talib commission and everything. Yes, I have my position on that commission. I hate commissions. I said that if Talib have done anything, investigate and take to justice. But I know that commission was a hack job. But he too was doing a hack job for Talib. You see, that's why even their interview, people tell me, oh, they're going to interview me. I'm not interested. Because they are not critical. They are not critical. Now, when I had him to his analysis, I saw a hack job. You see, I am not saying him, but what I had there, that was not a journalistic analysis. You see, Ben Suarez is not a journalist. My analysis is not a journalistic analysis. It's an activist analysis. And he was analyzing it as an activist. What's the difference here? I have a bias. I have a bias against this government. If you can listen to me and accept my point, I have a bias, that doesn't mean that I'll come and lie against this government. But I will not do a PR for this government. And anything that government do, what I do, my position is to go out there and dig it in and to bring it out for people. But as if you are a press officer, you should be objective. Your biases should not be either side. You see, one way the government gets away with things, they get the press, that we think they are free and fair to do their job. To probe to agitate the opposition, to probe the opposition. They do that. 1. 2, because they know how sensitive UDP is. UDP is a good way to bring in listeners and to bring in clicks. That's why I'll come to the UDP. I'll come to the UDP. They know that. Because as I said, I would not have had this thing if Dabo did not react on it. I would not have heard of it. No. I would not have heard of it. I will not go looking for it. Or anybody say, oh, pardon, I will not have. But I just listen to it because I would have to react to it because I have to react to Dabo's position. Because to react to Dabo's position, I have to know what led to this. But from what I had there, I'll come to that. These are the reasons that they do, and they do it this way. And this is where we should be careful as people that have platforms. In many times, I know a lot of things. I put certain things out, I point to certain things, and I leave the rest. That's why, again, when I even talk between when I say something between Gambia and Senegal, I make it very clear. I'm talking about a government. I make a difference. I make it clear. I'm not blaming Senegal for this. This is that's what they should do for their people, or they should do for their country. I'm blaming Gambia for this. I try to make it more clear to people to understand, because it's a sensitive thing. Because we don't have problem among our people. What we have problem is our government not doing what they should do. Their government doing what they, things like that. We should be very careful when we do these things. But especially when we call ourselves to be independent. I am not an independent journalist. Make it clear again, I'm an activist. Now, that's what I understand. Probably Dabo have, or UDP have had other interviews or other things that the gentleman have said, and that might warrant these things. But I'll come to that. But from what I had, too, they might have understand what was trying to be done. You see, they already started working on the local government elections. They already started local government. They're trying to divide the opposition. They're trying to divide the UDP from Major Law and what do you call it? Talib. From what Dabo has said before that led to this analysis, I don't see the point of that analysis there. Because if it was not for Dabo, I'll tell you, Major Law would not be a mayor candidate for UDP. If you know how many people, and some of those people in NPP now telling you they don't like or they hate the UDP, I'll tell you they have tried to be a candidate. They have tried to be a candidate for UDP because UDP was with Barrow, UDP was his government. They always go for government. They always go for government. They don't care what you represent. If UDP was the most horrible government, you'll be surprised how many people would have been with UDP today. When we were against UDP, they were with UDP. They tried to be candidates for UDP. Go and ask UDP to tell you how many candidates that stood independent in Banjul or stood for independent in Banjul went to the UDP committee to select them. Go and find out. Go and find out. But it was trying to, it's a hack job. And now, as an activist, if I see a journalist doing a hack job, I'm not saying that he's tribalist, I'm not saying anything tribalist from what I had. Why UDP think he's tribalist, that's for them to explain. I've not had any tribalism from the gentleman. I've not followed him much. The only thing I had on him is interviews he does, but not analysis. I've never had him do a political analysis or any form of analysis. But I know one thing, that he's not critical. And he is part of them that I have had him, even with Talib, he was economical with Talib. He did not come up with critical questions. He was like giving a PR to Talib to deal with this thing. I have had him with other people. I have seen what he was doing. It was a friendly press. That's why they love their press. Now, this was a hack job that, as I explained, that's what they do. They do hack jobs. But Dabo's statement and why he should not have responded and who should have to handle this. I think Dabo miscalculated. Dabo did politically, he did something completely wrong. And again, I am telling the UDP guys to be careful. Where your leader done wrong, say he did wrong. It's not strategic for Dabo to even respond. I am not saying that UDP should not respond or how UDP should respond. I'm not saying that. I'll come to that. Why Dabo should not respond? If you are a party leader, there's a level. You see, that's why I said, I'll come to that again. Political reforms needed in all political parties. We have to be structured well. And when we are structured, when we put our capacity, it's not just to have them. What's the point of spokespersons in UDP? What the spokesperson should do? What is the communication strategy for the UDP? What mechanism did they put in place to insulate the leader from, you see, that insulation, I'm talking about the president. Insulate the leader from information and to handle that information away from him. I'll tell you, Dabo should not even heard this analysis. He's human. He was bound to react. But he should, what makes a better leader is the leader who is whole accountable, leader who is supported with a structure around him, a capacity around him. But not just say, I have a spokesperson, I have a deputy spokesperson. What do they do? Why should Dabo? You see, Dabo should be hitting up, not hitting down, 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 down. You see, he did a favor for the journalists. And now, every journalist would do the same thing. Because Dabo have been provoked even more. He did not react to that. And that patient should have been continued, not to react to it and find a way for that to be reacted on, which I will explain. But he should not be hitting low. He should not be hitting low. And I think the UDP militants online should accept this fact. Not to say that they are happy. It's not true. You should not be happy about this. It's a mistake. It's a big mistake. Now look, what was going on? That's why, again, Gambians should realize this. At that minute, we had the issue about Parliament, Fabakary, and this thing. Now, that got off. You see, that's what they wanted. Now, they took this Dabo reaction. Now, it's all about Dabo. This is why I said that I am very careful in getting into this. Because what you do is, everything becomes Dabo Barrow. Then we forget about the corruption, we forget about everything Gambia. That's when I say that we hold UDP accountable. There are ways we hold them accountable as people on the side of the line. Just as you'd never hear me going after Dr. Cisse, even he have his controversies. What I do is I reach out to CA, executive, and speak to them about what should be done. You never hear me when 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐜𝐿 and others had their debacle, and when people fighting, I never came and even, I never commented on it. But I know where I commented, or how I commented, or what I handled. That's how I deal with my opposition. My people within my dissent. When GDC was in the fall, go and find out with GDC executives how I dealt with them. Give them advice. But the minute they identify with the idea, what did I do? I wrote dossiers, and it's on this thing, on what is going to happen to them. And I went against them, that this is the worst they have done again. That's what I do. Then for Dabo to go down to that was really a wrong move. First, he should be going up. Not only up, I'll tell you, this government is so bad that you can easily, any political party leader could have easily be an alternative. If you have got the structures right and your party just know the strategy to use. People will be coming out to listen to what you say, people will be galvanized, and people will be united behind you. Because of, yes, the government know what to target, how to target, and I'll come to that. I'll come to that when I come to reforms. The government know how to target. It's not new. In the First Republic, it was, you see, when the government finished with UP, and after NCP came in, they just concentrated on NCP. NCP came out, UP had to piggyback on this thing, and they had a coalition. The first coalition was, there was a coalition before, but I mean after this thing's the Republic, when we become Republic, first was UDP, NCP. Sorry, UP, NCP Banjul, UP, NCP Serekunda. You see? The government had just had to concentrate on NCP, tribal party, and all this fear. All this fear. And it was the government of the Gambia government of the Gambia always had 3 fullers or 2 or 3 fullers in cabinet. Even First Republic. But it was the same government that had the policy to go and arrest fullers and send the immigration officers to arrest fullers for permit. But the same government will turn around to tell the fullers that if the NCP win, all the fullers will be evacuated, taken out of the country. I'll tell you that. It's not a new tactics. It's not a new politics. It's an old politics. Then UDP should know this. It's an old politics. How to ride over this old politics. But not to react. It's to be strategic to ride over them. And to be above. They know how to get you, and you should not. Now, Dabo reaction. I know what I advised to people within UDP before today. The minute I heard about Davos, even before hearing what Panderi have said, I went straight to people. I said, UDP, why? And the other things I told him in private. And that's why I said UDP needs a reform. And I tell you, the momentum is now. If UDP waits till after December and no reforms, real reform, serious reform done, UDP will stall. UDP will stall. And if UDP stall, I'll tell you, this state capture is going to damage UDP. I know UDP will tell you they resist. I know they will resist. Yeah, they may have put them everything. But you'll be at a position that you should not be. You should be an alternative. You have an opportunity to be an alternative. And that reforms have to inform a critical change of guards and at the senior level. And then how you operate and make sure that anybody you appoint is up to par, competent to take on the task. If they're on economics, let them come out to talk to people about economics. If they're on agriculture, let them come out to do that. Let them have a shadow cabinet now to be an alternative. That's what UDP should do. Not to react to these things. How should they act to this? They could have sent Ibrahim Adiba to handle this. They could have sent anybody to handle this. To handle it, I mean, and handle it strategically. What you do is don't fall for what they want you to do. Don't do an outburst. Go on to a different platform. Not even their platform. Don't give them their blessing and tell the people. That's what politicians do. Look at what, that's what, go to a different platform. Not even a friendly platform. And put your case. Because if you go to a friendly platform, they say it's peer. Don't go to any friendly platform. Go to another platform and debunk them. And at the same time, hold that platform accountable. That's the same time you're holding that platform, non-friendly platform, accountable. You are showing your tolerance to agitations and to put the addresses in and to address what you believe that the person have done wrong. Not to accuse the person of doing that wrong, but to address what the person have done wrong. If any insinuations, any kind of undertones are there, bring it out for people to see the undertones. If you have to reference past interviews or past analysis that person have done, bring it up, because people might not have heard that before. This is your opportunity to bring it up or to bring this thing. And I'll tell you what, that person would not be relevant as they are relevant today. The only people everybody had. You see, I'll go and find out. I can bet to my dollar that the reason why this interview resonated is because of Dabo have reacted. If Dabo have not reacted, I would not have heard about it from me. And I know most people would not have heard about it. Then it's a mistake, and this is where the UDP should learn to accept their mistakes. As we told them before. As we told them before, to accept those mistakes and to handle it right. Now, I will come to another point. That's why I said I am an activist. I am not a so-called activist, and I am not going to be agitated to react. This is my job. I'm a strategist. I'm not. I point up. I don't point down. I am not distracted. Nobody can distract me. You can label me. I was labeled here by NPP for everything. I've been accused of the most gross moral thing one can do, sexually and everything, but it doesn't bother me. I just realize it's not true. I know it's not true. I know who I am. I know people hold perceptions. That's their right to hold those perceptions. They cannot define me. I will not let them define me. I know who I am. I know what I do. That's where our leaders should understand. Let's look at this. What we are facing today, I want Gambians to understand. That's where I understand it. You see, the establishment does that all the time. Senegal is happening in Senegal right now. Sonko was not a problem for Macky Sall. No. Idrissa Seck was a problem. Mustafa Niasse was a problem. But he dealt with them in a way, because they are established politicians. Established politicians, in many ways, there are many ways you deal with them. But Sonko decided to be an anti-establishment. Y'en a marre became an anti-establishment. Y'en a marre is not a party, but it's civil society. What did they do with the civil society? You see, I'm saying our problems are many. We have so-called civil society organizations in the Gambia. And I can tell you, majority, yes, I can, if anyone think you are credible or you want to clear, take me on. I'll tell you, majority of civil society in the Gambia are either for themselves or they are doing hack jobs. They are doing hack job for the establishment. They benefit from the establishment. And any establishment come, they will do that. They do it for Yaya Jammeh, they do it for Jawara, and they're doing it now. That's why you have to be critical. Because someone label themselves doesn't mean what they are. Independent or CSOs. They are hack jobs doers. And they are part of our problem. Then the opposition have to be wise up. Opposition have to don't allow to be distracted. And opposition have to compose well and to do well and to act well. Because you have a state capture going on. In Senegal, Mustafa Niasse, Idrissa Seck and others all got dealt with. Or everybody got dealt with. They went for the civil society. Why didn't they go for they didn't go for other civil society. They went for Y'en a marre. Direct action. Y'en a marre was direct action. Bring it on, bring it on. And because of Y'en a marre, Macky Sall became a president. Because of Y'en a marre. Now, Y'en a marre become a catalyst because of the opposition and hold on to accountability. Went out there, direct action. Macky Sall came out from the establishment to act as an anti-establishment. And right onto Y'en a marre. What did he do first? He went against Y'en a marre. His interior ministers started going against Y'en a marre, saying that Y'en a marre was sponsored by external aggressors or whatever. Start going after them. Start looking at criminal, if they have criminal background or can be accused of criminality. Now, because they got all rid of these people and they got rid of any potential candidate to elections. Wada's son, Halifa Sall, they got rid of all that. They give them prison sentences and they control them. Sonko was little. He punched 15%. Unheard of, first time in Senegal, you come out on 15%. And because of, again, the perception that Sonko was a minority. You see, don't lie about it. Tribe play a role in every politics. In Gambia, in United Kingdom, be a Scottish and become the Labour leader and see what's going to happen to you. Be a Scottish and become the Labour leader. Go, be a Scottish and see whether you can be the Conservative leader. Be an Irish, see whether you can. No. We have the English, we have the Irish, we have the Scottish, we have the Welsh. There's politics going on. It's tribal. But it's how they play it. It's tribal. Now, what I'm asking here is, in Senegal, what happened here is they thought Sonko was a minority. They thought Sonko was just a loud mouth. No, Sonko had a strategy. Anti-establishment strategy. That's why I keep on crying out. Anti-establishment strategy. Bring people together through this affected do it. That's your grassroots. You can win elections. No. That's where I wanted PWIs to be. 2016, when PWI said they're not part of government, I tried everything to want to see Halifa Sallah come out and anti-establishment. Then UDP and Barrow and everybody can be puzzled the same thing. And we can win an election. Because if they continue to have entrenched themselves, it would not have been good for UDP. It's not good for Gambia. It's not good for Gambia. We need a competitive environment where opposition is vibrant. Not government to come in and take over everything. Control everything. This is what the Barrow is trying to do. Yaya Jammeh do it through fear. Barrow is trying to do to corruption and division. Yaya Jammeh did it to division and fear and corruption. This guy wants to use corruption and division. He cannot put fear in us yet. But if he has the opportunity, he will do. Now, Sonko, they thought Sonko would not resonate. He came out 15%. And after they deal with the opposition, now he wants his third term, Sonko is the obstacle. Sonko came as an anti-establishment. Sonko came as a movement. Again, go and ask the people who, when CA said they're going to come out, I advise that doctors should think of running a movement, not a political party yet. Yet. It's too soon. Because of you've been named, you've been given this thing by Barrow calling you out. I said you have an opportunity to start a movement. Gambia, we need a movement, political movement, that will build up, and probably by the local government elections coming, then we could have started seeing something. You have to build something. But because of the way our system is, to run a political party is difficult to be sustainable. People depend so much on government. Then your executive will depend on government. You will depend on government. Everybody, they will be very scared to the people that depend on government cannot come onto you. But you build a movement, the movement will bring about change. This is what Sonko is trying. And we see what's now. Pastef, when Pastef came out as a movement, what happened? The youths, disaffected, came up, and they represented something. Sonko did a big mistake by going to the Masai Palo. And the Senegalese government could have finished Sonko if they had not tried to make that thing what it was not. They should just have used the moral card. I'll tell you, if Senegalese government have just put their hands out and just be behind the scenes and just push the issues and leave the moral card and let the Senegalese people not see the government in it, Sonko would have been finished. Sonko would have been finished. But the minute Senegalese government show interest, now make it to be rape, which was likely not rape. And what I take a position, I am a gender activist here, but feminist. But what we have had is a hand job from government. If government did not show their hands, Sonko would have been finished. But government showed their hands, this movement. You see, the movement came out. Now, it's not about this rape or perceived rape or Sonko going to Masai Palo. They know that government want to take Sonko out, and if Sonko goes, that's what they believe is the struggle will go. You see, you have to make the struggle, give it to the people, let people own it, and you be a leader. They are fighting for that. Now you see, they know that it's about the third term and it's about elections and training. Now next minute, the government did the same mistakes again. They went for the mayor of the potential mayor of Dakar, Majas, who had the case before and the case was stolen. Now what they want to bring it out, the Pastef and activists all came about, and the activists and Pastef and others, they came out. They used the leverage. Go and look at the mayors in different places in Dakar, in urban areas. That's why I said when Barrow lost the urban areas, Barrow have lost the elections. That's where it is measured. Go and if the local government of elections in Senegal was the presidential election, Macky Sall coalition would have lost. Ziguinchor, Kaolack, Thiès, Ndar, all these major places, the activists, the Pastef and others came together. You see, that's what Gambians should think about. But I said we need a reform. Now, the reform here is, what they're trying to do is, you know, look at it. What the idea when PPP went for NCP, because there was no other parties around. Yeah, we had other people from a party, but they could not even start. Because those people were trying to start a party based on establishment, and there was no vacuum in the establishment. Jawara have occupied that vacuum. What you have to do is anti-establishment. Sirif Diba was an establishment. Sirif Diba was trying to build a party from the establishment. Hassan Musa Kamara was an establishment. Hassan Musa Kamara was trying to build a party on the establishment. They did not try to be anti-establishment. It failed. Jawara was not bothered. The only time Jawara was bothered about Hassan Musa was Basse, and he neutralized that. That's when he used Buba Balde to betray the people, to come to PPP, cross-cupping. It's not new. But what happened? You see, when you break democracy, that's what brought us the coup. That's what brought us the coup. That's how they destabilized Hassan Musa in politics in Basse. That was his base. If you lost your base, you lost everything. Now, after that, we had the IJM. UDP came out as a protest. And that protest means it became a movement. And so many people were part of UDP that formed the UDP. Ousainou Darboe did not form UDP. Ousainou Darboe was seen as a compromise between the people that formed UDP, PPP and NCP mainly. Then UDP came out as a protest. And that's why UDP should remember that. They came out of a protest. And if any political party think that they can win a dictatorship in elections, no. You are just a protest. You're doing the right thing though. You are in opposition. But you cannot win an opposition dictatorship in elections. That's why too we should recognize the efforts done by the soldiers that went and burned the APRC bureau to stop the circulation of those voter cards. That's why we should recognize the fraud of these voter cards again, because people sacrificed their life to get those voter cards out of circulation. Now we are seeing those people lost who sacrificed their lives. They escaped luckily. One person who was just named, Toumani Jallow, was not part of that. Yes, because I was one of the original organizers of that action. Toumani Jallow has never featured in that. What happened is one of the chaps that involved when we evacuate them to Senegal, that chap text Toumani and that's it. Toumani did not report it. That's it. He was not involved. They sacrificed their life. They knew. The young boys knew that if Yahya Jammeh captured them, they would be dead. The young boys knew that because I made it clear to them. They were not paid money. No. They were patriotic citizens. They were not paid money. I can swear to Holy Quran in Ramadan. I've never paid any of them, or we never paid any of them. Yes, we gave them operational funds. Yes, we took care of them when we were in Dakar. And other people even helped, taking care of them in Dakar. That's what we do, solidarity for the common good. We did not do it because we are running elections. I didn't have a party that was running elections. But it was part of what can take Yahya Jammeh out. We mapped out, we strategized, we understand that a coalition government can take Yahya Jammeh out if those cards are out of circulation. That's the only way. And a coalition government will be needed in order to take the government, bring the people out. You see, if I have time, I did it before. I can explain leadership, things that we identified that needed to be brought together. We did that. That's why I know most people are talking about, oh, this is the way coalition came about. So, yes, that's what intelligence do. You will not see us. But the day will come that a book will come out and you see what role in play. And you would know the importance of burning that APRC bureau was not only for the card circulation be stopped, but for other things to happen. And they happen after that. Yes, and some politicians are dishonest not to recognize the importance of that thing happening there. But it will not happen. But UDP was a protest party. They would not have never won an election because nobody would declare an elections. You see, again, I said it, go and I, after 2016, I did an analysis. I brought all my programs before the elections, before forming a coalition to explain that, look, what I was presenting was deliberate. I know what I was doing was part of the strategy. I did that. And you see, we knew that there's going to be an impasse. And I proved it when I presented my programs, bringing out my past program, saying that that's where I mentioned impasse, that's where I mentioned impasse, that's where I mentioned impasse. A dictator would not walk away. It's common sense, away from elections or because of it's been declared. Nobody would have even declared it. But there are certain things done to declare it. You see, when some of these things, we can share it one day. When you do things for the right reasons, Allah will just come to your aid. When the CDS Usman Baji was doing his things, yes, he was not with himself, but he did a lot of favor. That's why that day, it's only God that made that happen. Allah made that happen. He was in Westfield when there was a suspense that the votes are not completed in the morning. That was first in the morning, but people started to come around Westfield. What made people to go around Westfield was deliberate. People don't know how it happened. And some people went to Westfield, didn't even know how they went to Westfield. That's what intelligence said. We work on that. And it was already a strategy put in place. And Allah have it, when CDS was there, then the other thing just came in. Yahya Jammeh then, because CDS jubilated with the people. And Yahya Jammeh got the information that, in fact, your entire military is infiltrated already. And they are not ready to stand with you. You are out. There's a lot of work being done. Then to say that UDP was not winning elections, 2016, the first elections probably they won outright, but they would not have never won an election. Let's put it that way. It's a dictatorship. Now, UDP have gone through all that. Yes, they've been strong. They've suffered. I was not there, but I know the journey. I'm not saying that I know the pain. No. I cannot even try to explain that. I cannot. But I know how painful it is to live under that for 22 years. Families living under that, the maltreatment, the loss of income, the livelihood, many things, people dying and everything. I cannot. But look, empathy doesn't mean that you have to experience it to know it. Yeah, they feel it, they know it more. But we should empathize, we know that. I know that. And they stayed with that until everybody came to it, this thing. And that's a lesson to be learned there. They could not have done it alone. With all the sacrifice, Jammeh would still have been there. But because of something happened, we came together and we liberated that country. And that thing should always be the center of what they think. How can we bring that leadership to ensure that we always have people, together, to broaden our base, not to hold on, to be sustainable because of we are holding among ourselves. That's not sustainable. I think, and you see, another strategy I'll tell you, that's the third way. The third way means you bring out a strategy that will open up for people to behave in a way that would bring out an outcome that you desire. Give you an example in what's it called? Barack Obama's approach was a third way. Okay, I could have gone to explain how he bring about the gay issue about the liberation of the gay movements and everything else. I could have gone there, but that's far. That needs a lot of digression to do. But Cuba, the reason he was opening up Cuba, that was it. He was using the third way because the embargo did not work. The system is still on. But he knew that would be quicker because of the new generation of Cubans. These people, are tired. They are new into the system. Now open up the country and let the people do it. And I'll tell you, if Barack's Cuba was still open, you know the demonstration that happened recently would have been more than that. Cuba would have been something else by now. The same third way approach. Again, I don't want to digress. I would have explained a lot to explain what he was doing in Iran. You know, the nuclear deal and everything was not only about nuclear deal. It was about opening up Iran. He was trying to open up Iran again for the new generation in Iran to depose the system. To depose the system. That's why we should understand the third way. In the third way here in Gambia, look, it's not sustainable to UDP just to hold on to one thing. That's why they need these reforms. But again, before coming to the reforms, now you can see that the system with Jammeh was, UDP was the ultimate target here. The journalists were, some business people were, but mainly the business people he had problem with were the business people he had business with. It was robbery. The journalists and the UDP mainly were, but other opposition parties like PDOIS when they move on to, because after I didn't understand the system that PDOIS was, the approach PDOIS have was something that he can deal with. Until they move to certain things, I do it. When they go for direct action or in certain action, then he goes for them. But he would not go for them absolutely. And the same thing with the UDP, because UDP are more likely or prone to direct actions in many aspects or big political rallies which agitates, then he will go for them. But in most cases too, he will not go for them outright. Until the solo sending incident, he thought that he have to go for them outright. Sanko. Yes, I'm busy. I'll call you back, yeah? All right. You see, and you know why the solo sending incident? After the solo sending incident, he have to go outright. And I'll give you this again. If they remember, Ibrahim Silla, Bamba Mas, Suntu Ture, Ibrahim Silla, Bamba Mas, Suntu Ture, separately, not together. Separately, Ibrahim Silla was in Ghana. Separately, I called them. You see the Congress that UDP did in Basse before the case, solo sending case. That's Congress of 2014. Congress of 2014. Sorry, guys. I need to go very soon. Sis, Maggie online. Maggie online. Sorry, guys. I would need to be quick to go on. You know the Congress of 2014 Congress, December 2014, in Basse, where Adama Barrow was, when already Amadou Sane was arrested, Adama Barrow was nominated or this thing as assistant treasurer and acting treasurer now, because Amadou Sane was not around. You remember that Congress, they came down to a convoy. They did a caravan, and they came through Latikunda, Latikunda Mampoto, and people started to listen, and they came to Serekunda, and by Westfield it became very agitated. And that night, and we saw Musa Savage came out with the uniform and the loud things, and we went on social media to agitate. That day, all the activists were UDP, because we are given hope, because now the state was agitated. And Musa Savage came with this thing, and remember, this was after the 30th December. No, this 2015 it was after 30th December. It was after the 30th, that was 2015. This is 2015 actually, not 2014. Musa Savage came with the walkie-talkie and on Facebook, posted that on his profile. And another thing happened is they switched off the lights and later they put it back on. Because when the UDP got to Serekunda, they started to even brazenly started to call out the IJMA, Tony Daba, something Tony Daba, and saying that he'll go. And it was so agitated, they said, State House, let's go State House, let's move the caravan to move State House. And they sent the PIU. But again, what happened is, the state was listening, and the UDP, in fact, went through Bakau. Instead of going straight to Dabo's house, they went through Bakau. And they came and sent on Dabo's house. That night, the system was shaking. And when that happened, I did my analysis. And I'll give you the evidence of that analysis here. These are all things I have on SoundCloud, but for one reason, just a minute, I kept this. I kept this for one reason, and I'll give you. God, I'm gonna get this. Okay. What I did, when I saw what happened that night, I was concerned. I reached out to UDP. I know that I can get to them. Suntu Ture, in private, I called him. And I said to him, Suntu, I'm not sure whether you guys understand what happened last night. I said that you have represented something that would scare Yaya, and Yaya would do something about this. I said, next time this happens, you either have a strategy to take over, I mean, go out and get Yaya out by bringing out the people, or Yaya would take all your executive away. I said this because I knew what was happening. I said that to Bamba Mas. I hope these people can remember this. I said this to Ibrahim Silla. And for Ibrahim Silla, he in fact listened. The reason I told Ibrahim Silla, he listened to my analysis of that event. The next day I did the event. And this is what Ibrahim Silla wrote. Let me, 1 minute. The SoundCloud was April 5th, 2016. Actually, it's 2016. I said 2015, 2016. This was just before sending. It's April 5th. The SoundCloud is April 5th, 2016, Gambia Way Forward. And something Ibrahim Silla wrote is, Ibrahim Silla said, who have not listened to it? Oh God. Okay, Ibrahim Silla wrote this. And for people, probably you can see that. That's Ibrahim Silla's profile. Ibrahim Silla wrote this. Wow, Ben Suare, that was a good summer. Hey, I have just finished listening to Ben Suare on Fatu Radio, but the program was cut short because Fatu Camara was to come on air. But I hope it could be uploaded on SoundCloud for those who have not listened to it. For a long time, I have not heard such an impactful analysis on defying a military or a quasi-military style government. It was a very powerful analysis of what happened on Monday evening when UDP was coming from its Congress and what should have been done to sustain such defiance. That's Ibrahim Silla. He continued. The analysis also touched on how to sustain defiance to the type of regime in hyper situation we have found ourselves in. Ben's analysis is very much neatly tied in to unity of purpose, but also what we should do to disallow a breathing space for the dictator. This is the same words Ibrahim used. And I'll continue. Ibrahim said again, this was a must-listen analysis to chart to at least help us come up with a definitive strategy to collectively and formulate frontally deal with this brutal regime. I applaud you, Ben, for this powerful analysis. He said, folks, let's listen to those who know what they are talking about, rather than those who only castigate and imbecile the determined effort of the downtrodden people of the Gambia. I hope, he continued to say, I hope all the opposition parties would take time to listen to this very important analysis, because that's my way of operation. My point is that I look at the strength and see how to bring the diversity onto that strength. That's what my centered approach was. Not that I empathize more with UDP or anything. Yes, it was more with UDP, but it was strategic. I do things strategically, not identity of anything, of purpose. He continued, this Ibrahim talking again. The only place I don't agree with Ben is where he was apologetic to the UDP and other opposition parties for what he might have previously said about them. This is when you communicate, you have a reconciliating face that you do to make people to listen to what you said. Yeah, I did apologize to UDP and other political parties for what I might have said against them. But that doesn't mean that what I said was wrong. No, I was trying to get them to listen constructively on this. When I criticized them, it was at a moment that we were frustrated. And we are human. Emotions will come out. And we might say things that we didn't even plan. I will not come online without preparing my program. But at times, some of these things come out. It's not part of, that's one seed I've just written. One seed. But I have talked about more than other things. It will come up. He continued to say, those of us who put ourselves in frontline politics should muster the courage to accept criticism. This is what he said. Now he doesn't accept criticism. You see, one the table turn, they are different people. Gambia, what I'm saying here is, we should be careful. Now, what the Barrow government want to do is, they want to, what we have viable are two things. Let's be sustainable. You see, we have to understand politics. We all have seen the new political party that sprung up. None of them look sustainable. None of them. And we know that most of the independents, apart from Esa Fall, even to a limit, was opportunist. But most of the independents were opportunists, apart from Banky something. Apart from Banky. Most of them are opportunists. They just wanted to be on the gravy train. Now, what do we have as opposition? I'll tell you today, GDC is not sustainable. The only sustainability we have are two political parties, PDOIS or UDP. And if they don't reform, there will be no more. And this is what the government is working on. Now, that's why we should have solidarity among ourselves. I'm not saying that we should not hold each other accountable, but let us not be petty about it. Let us not be petty about it. Let us make sure we work with what we have. If time for elections, people can take positions. What we do is sustain the opposition in order to hold accountability, in order to sustain our democracy, in order for opportunity to have for change. Who is going to be the change? We don't know. You see, that's why I appeal to the UDP and PDOIS to do these changes. They need to do this approach. Now he is very heavy. Very heavy on UDP, and he wants everybody else to take UDP as the problem. But you see, when he needed, when Barrow needed a seat where PDOIS was, he went for CDA. He went for CDA. And he will go for anybody he thinks. That's why we should not be divided. As I said, my first approach was to go to UDP themselves and tell them harshly what I think that went wrong with the Davos address. It was not strategic and it was not right. And I'm saying it here. But because of a so-called activist or a so-called this thing or an attention seeker said that what activists will say, I'll come and answer to them? No, that's not strategic. We do it on our platforms. Now, if UDP dies out, now, PDOIS dies out, you think that we will just have another party? It's not easy to build a political party to be sustainable. I am not saying that it's not possible. I said that I have written and I've shared with people that know, I have written the strategy on building an anti-establishment. I am not interested in an supporting an established political party. An anti-establishment political party, how it can be formed. How can you form the leadership? What strategy to do, to bring that leadership about? Everything else is written down. There's a strategy for it. But you have to have takers. We don't have takers in Gambia. We don't have takers in Gambia. What we have is the people in the front line. It's not easy to be a taker in Gambia. It's consuming. It's consuming to be on the radio here, to be on social media here. You think what would take to be a political leader? No. People don't want to come out of their comfort zone. People who can lead the Gambia don't want to come out from their comfort zone. That's a fact. Now, this is what we have. We have to work with this to this thing. That's why we have to be very strategic how we deal with these things. And I have my hang-ups with political parties or individuals or something like that. But when it comes to a country, it's not personal. We should not take it personal. We can criticize, but end of the day, know our limitations and know what the end goal is going to do. If we think that we are going to continue to be divided based on tribes, perceptions, and now we are making that entrenched as a system, we are divided, become, regionalizations, because we remember, when UDP was in government, it was not about Mandinkas, but it was Mandinkas themselves talking about their rigors. Kombo amundara, kombo mam fensoto, badibu mam fensoto, kiang mam fensoto, gang mam fensoto. And the Gambia is not who soto or moma soto. It's about what's best for Gambia. And guys, I'm running late for a meeting, and they've been calling before it. But we'll catch up again, on this. And I hope some of the answers or queries have been answered. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day. Thank you.